Tornado intensity. Tornadoes are among the most powerful and unpredictable forces in nature. In just a few minutes, a storm can transform from a dark cloud on the horizon into a whirling vortex that rips through homes, uproots trees, and scatters debris for miles. Scientists have long sought ways to describe and measure the intensity of these storms so people can understand the risks they face. The main tool for this is the Enhanced Fujita Scale, EF scale, introduced in 2007 to replace the original Fujita scale developed in the early 1970s by meteorologist Dr. Tetsuya Fujita. Instead of only estimating wind speeds, the EF scale looks at the actual damage left behind, making it more accurate and practical. Understanding this scale is essential not just for meteorologists, but for emergency responders, builders, and anyone living in tornado-prone areas. The EF scale gives us universal language for describing tornado strength, from relatively mild EF zeros to catastrophic EF5 monsters. EF0 tornadoes, the gentle ones. The EF0 is the least intense classification on the scale, but that does not mean it's harmless. With wind speeds between 65 and 85 miles per hour, 105 to 137 kilometers/h, even EF0 can still rip shingles from rooftops, break windows, push cars off roads, and uproot small or shallow-rooted trees. These tornadoes often form quickly and dissipate just as fast, sometimes lasting only a few minutes, and their paths tend to be narrow, often less than 100 yards wide. Many people underestimate EF0 tornadoes, thinking of them as weak, but even these can disrupt power, damage homes, and injure anyone caught outside. For example, in rural areas, an EF0 can flatten barns, topple poorly anchored mobile homes, and scatter farming equipment, leading to costly damage and danger to both people and animals. EF1 tornadoes, a noticeable step up. EF1 tornadoes bring a clear jump in destructive power, with winds ranging from 86 to 110 miles per hour, 138 to 177 kilometers/h. These storms can peel large sections of roofs off houses, snap utility poles, and flip mobile homes entirely. Cars parked in open driveways may be lifted or pushed over. EF1 tornadoes often last longer than EF0s, sometimes staying on the ground for several miles, and are more likely to hit populated areas. The cost of cleanup can easily reach millions of dollars. In suburban neighborhoods, EF1 tornadoes can knock down fences, scatter debris across streets, and disrupt power grids for days. People often underestimate the danger of EF1s until they see the damage firsthand. EF2 tornadoes, serious and destructive. Once winds reach 111 to 135 miles per hour, 178 to 217 kilometers/h, the destruction becomes far more serious. EF2 tornadoes can completely remove roofs from well-built homes, smash exterior walls, and uproot large, mature trees with deep roots. Vehicles can be thrown hundreds of feet, and heavy debris like farm equipment or wooden beams can become dangerous projectiles. EF2 tornadoes can carve wide paths, sometimes half a mile across, and remain on the ground for 10 miles or more. Communities hit by EF2 storms often face weeks or even months of rebuilding. Many recorded fatalities from tornadoes come from this category because of the significant structural damage and flying debris. For people living in mobile homes or poorly constructed buildings, EF2 tornadoes pose a deadly threat. EF3 tornadoes, severe and life-threatening. EF3 tornadoes are considered severe, with winds of 136 to 165 miles per hour, 218 to 266 kilometers/h. At this intensity, entire walls of well-built houses can be torn down, and large commercial buildings like schools or warehouses can suffer extensive damage. Cars and trucks may be lifted and tossed hundreds of feet, often landing far from where they were picked up. EF3 tornadoes tend to last longer than weaker storms, sometimes persisting for an hour or more, and can cut swaths over a mile wide. These tornadoes can destroy entire neighborhoods and inflict widespread fatalities, if people do not have access to underground shelters or reinforced safe rooms. The damage caused by EF3 tornadoes often leaves survivors describing their towns as war zones. EF4 tornadoes, extreme devastation. The leap in destruction from EF3 to EF4 is dramatic. EF4 tornadoes have winds between 166 and 200 miles per hour, 267 to 322 kilometers/h. These winds can flatten even well-constructed homes, tear apart large office buildings, and fling massive vehicles like buses and semi-trucks as if they were toys. Trees are often stripped of bark or uprooted entirely, and debris can be thrown miles away. Communities struck by EF4 storms often face years of recovery, with entire blocks reduced to rubble. The 2013 Moore, Oklahoma tornado, for example, was an EF4 that leveled hundreds of buildings and killed dozens. Surviving an EF4 often depends on having access to underground storm shelters. EF5 tornadoes, the monsters. EF5 tornadoes are the rarest and most devastating. With winds exceeding 200 miles per hour, 322 kilometers/h, they can obliterate entire towns. Well-constructed homes are swept completely off their foundations. Steel-reinforced concrete buildings may collapse, and even the ground can be scoured, with asphalt ripped off roads. Debris from EF5 tornadoes can be carried for tens of miles. Famous EF5 events include the 1997 Jarrell, Texas tornado, which left little more than bare slabs where homes once stood, and the 2011 Joplin, Missouri tornado, which killed over 150 people. EF5 tornadoes represent the upper limit of nature's fury, and surviving one often comes down to luck and having access to properly reinforced underground shelters. How scientists measure intensity. Contrary to what many believe, meteorologists rarely measure tornado wind speeds directly. It's simply too dangerous to send instruments into most tornadoes. Instead, scientists assess the damage after the storm has passed. Teams from the National Weather Service and other agencies inspect everything from how trees snap to how building foundations failed. These surveys are compared against engineering data to estimate wind speeds. Doppler radar, drones, and satellite imagery have improved our understanding of tornado structure. Why intensity levels matter. Knowing a tornado's intensity is crucial for saving lives. An EF0 or EF1 tornado might damage roofs or power lines, but most people can stay safe by sheltering in a sturdy interior room. By the time we reach EF3 or higher, standard homes may not offer enough protection. Underground shelters, basements, or specially reinforced safe rooms often become the only reliable options. Emergency managers use decades of EF-scale data to decide where to build community shelters and how to improve building codes in high-risk regions. Climate trends and changing tornado patterns. While no single tornado can be blamed on climate change, researchers are studying how a warming planet might influence tornado frequency and location. Warmer air can hold more moisture and can fuel more severe thunderstorms, the type that often spawn tornadoes. Some studies suggest that the traditional tornado alley in the central United States may be shifting eastward toward the more densely populated Mississippi Valley and Southeast. This means that areas with less experience dealing with severe tornadoes may face increased risks in the coming decades. Understanding the EF scale and improving disaster readiness will be more important than ever if such shifts continue. The progress of tornado science. Tornado science has advanced tremendously over the last few decades. Before the Fujita scale was introduced in 1971, tornadoes were simply described as weak or strong, which didn't provide much guidance for planning. The enhanced Fujita scale, introduced in 2007, refined these estimates and gave emergency planners better data. Doppler radar now detects rotation within thunderstorms, often providing crucial minutes of lead time before a tornado forms. In the future, scientists hope to integrate computer modeling and mobile radar units to predict not just whether a storm might produce a tornado, but also how intense it could become. This knowledge can save lives by allowing people to act before the storm strikes. Respecting nature's power. From the relatively mild EF0 to the catastrophic EF5, tornadoes demonstrate the raw power of nature. While most tornadoes are on the weaker end of the scale, every one of them has the potential to cause injuries or fatalities. Understanding the EF scale isn't just about science, it's about preparation and survival. Knowing what each level of tornado intensity means allows communities to respond appropriately, plan better shelters, and reduce casualties. The history of devastating tornadoes has taught us that knowledge, preparation, and respect for these natural phenomena are our strongest defenses.